is working. Sweet. I don't know if this is gonna go up right away. Might be next week, just in case I can't get to one. I mentioned a few other tips for like doing like UI meters. Here they are. So there's sort of two major implementations, I suppose, that I'm going to talk about here. There's our meter, right? I mentioned before you could do like not working. You can kind of slide it along the UVs. But one way you can do it instead is do a cutoff. So you have a cutoff map here, and generally, not always, you'll want it to sort of line up with your actual visual graphics here. And then have a cutoff that you increase like this, and it makes it shrink. So it's basically, taking this data, or, taking your image or whatever. You know what I mean? That's so small, it's kind of weird. Tiny. Right there. I thought it was bigger. Anyway, it takes this data here and compares it to the cutoff. And so if it, is greater than or whatever, I forget which one it is, then it will discard that data. To sort of push it to the next level, we have a little cutoff range here. You can kind of smooth that out. Pretty cool. One of the flaws with this, which I didn't even realize when I started making the video, is that you get a lot of artifacting. Because it's hard to explain until I get to the next example. But basically, you don't have your full UV data of like the texture, and so there's a lot of interpolation that the shader just does automatically, and it looks really bad. So yeah, this. What's nice is that, at least for this one, you can kind of attach everything to this one value. That makes it nice and easy. What I also wanted to mention is, I don't even have a mask on here. So yeah, there's that. The next phase of it would be to have like a mask. I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right in and both of these. So firstly, we have a mask that gives it this shape here. We kind of talked. That's basically what we did here with our previous one, but we're doing something a little bit extra special here. I think it's not that important. So I have this. We're gonna go ahead and grab them down here. That way I can edit these at the same time. Save the cutoff. Well, I guess I'll show it the normal way first. It's doing the same thing. But you'll notice what we have to do actually create a gradient that is slanted. This is another sort of one of the shortcomings. Have to you create a lot of independent parts, but it can be nice. So how we did this, well, there's a few ways you can do it. Basically, you just do a gradient overlay. Something I learned today when I was trying to wonder why certain things weren't working. There's a smoothness slider here. 0 smoothness means it is perfectly linear. So it's going from, white to black here along this layer in Photoshop. What I like to do, select that layer, Control-Shift-C and then Control-V. You can kind of get away with like actually doing an angle. It would be nice if I could figure it out. We start getting this stuff, and there's ways to like make that not happen. The scale doesn't quite take us there. I have to go ahead and paste that one. Do Control-T, grab this, hold control and slide that over, or you can just go straight up here. That's the horizontal shear, I think. That, and I'm not going to save it because that was actually better. So now we have a slanted cutoff. So instead of cutting into it like this, like up and down, it's actually aligned with our mask. So you could, these shaders that I'm going to provide are there to kind of mess around with. And they're split up into a ton of textures. That way you can kind of understand it better. But so the purpose of these shaders are for you to just have them for reference to maybe explore a little bit. And then once you have like a certain look that you want, you can decide on what implementation will work best. And then you can decide on, how much overlap you can have and how much like channel sharing you can do in your texture. You might guess that from there, you can kind of take it to the next level. So firstly, I just did this. I just put like a shadow under there. And again, you would control this cutoff in your scripts during runtime. So same thing, and you actually have to gutter this to make it look better. So what that means is that, not familiar with it. It's like extruding, like the texture. First, I copy that bottom layer and pull that down. Copy that top layer, pull it down. Then over here, that's all black. So that's what this layer is, just black over here and white over here. And it just cleans it up. I actually cleans it up like a lot. If you don't do that, you get some weird artifacting. That's kind of the big issue with this. For certain things, it can look really good. Like these meters, they look great. It's nice because you only have to worry about that one value, like I mentioned in my previous video, how we have like these two masks for different cutoff points, and it can get kind of fuzzy and not fuzzy, but cumbersome. That's two viewers. Hey, pull up the boop boop. To me, Katarina, doing in there. It's okay. You don't have to say anything. Yeah. So, talking about just putting like a little shadow one under there, which is kind of fun. You can do overlays too. I didn't actually implement it on this shader yet, but from the previous video, it's in there where you can have just an additional texture on top to give it some pizzazz. The next thing you can do, the radial shape. So we go ahead and go into Photoshop, and instead of doing left and right, and we did a video a long time ago where we did this sort of in a shader to create like some like Full Metal Alchemist sort of like magical glyphs, like drawing, you know what I mean? And that was cool. And we use that sort of same thing here. And this is where I learned about the smoothness thing, because by default it's like this, and I'm like, there's these huge chunks right here, and that's not right. Like this is all black and this is all white, so the stepping was weird down there. It wasn't linear. You just do that and it actually fixes it up. So yeah, you just draw a whole layer, or a whole, layer full of pixel data. It doesn't matter what it is, and you go to gradient overlay and pick angle here and create that for us. So then, using the same thing, delete mask real quick to show it exactly. So we have our cutoff like this, and same thing, cutoff range. And you can see all the artifacting happening in here. I tried a bunch of different things. I tried this. I tried it without like a texture. This is like an edge to like create a texture, but it's like a lot of artifacting, and so it's like slightly smoother. You can play with these. This is basically like, is it don't know if it's easy to understand. So we have our main cutoff, right? Let's actually turn all these down. You can go around like that. It'll give us that shape, right? That's cool. And then from there, you just do that mask. Go ahead and create like a slightly different mask. We'll use this one. We'll go ahead and crack it open and make it a little bit different. Probably not too much different, but what I like to do is just do a whole circle. I don't know what it is. It's just outer glows. So we have this. And so how the masking works is where it's white, it will be present, right? And it'll have this like fade out. It'll also multiply the color in that mask. So we can, you know, create it like this. Up really nice. And then, you know, have something like that, like Kingdom Hearts or something. And if you wanted to do something like that, you'd have to, like Kingdom Hearts, I mean. This is kind of where the shortcomings is. You'd have like a mask like this, right? Think of that meter. It might be going the wrong way. I can't remember how it exactly goes in Kingdom Hearts. Something like that. You know what I mean? And it loops around. But then you'd have to line up your cutoff, because right now you just have that radial cutoff. So there's, you know what I mean? So that's not working right. So you'd have to, you know, create a gradient that was like white here, and then black like that. And again, that's one of the things where maybe just working with a single texture file would actually work really nice. But then you run into issues where if you want this glow on the outside, you know, that's just things you're going to have to explore. What's cool about this shape, though, you can also get a little fancy. And in addition, this is, even though it's on the UI, like canvas in Unity, you can draw meshes on it. So that's what I'm doing. I don't have a perspective, so it's like, there's some cool stuff you can do with perspective. Like instead of doing this, like a fake perspective, you can do, you know, more lined up, like perfectly, like how we had it before, and then tilt it into perspective in the engine and get some really cool looks. But even this is pretty cool. It's actually bigger and it looks bad. That we have this look, the cutoff. That's pretty sweet. It would look really good if it was just actually in perspective. I'm doing good. Thank you. And so, like I mentioned, I ran into some things where this cutoff works nice, but then you start getting all this artifacting. You can kind of smooth it off. Already that looks pretty cool. Looks a lot better, but then like down here you can see the artifacting, where it's just not as crisp and clean. And then I kind of took it to the next level, so where the color cutoff between the two gradient points also have that, so that way I can push this down, have that color range a little bit longer, so I can have like that fade out there, and then that color can have a little bit of a fade out too, however you want it. And then with that single input, you can scroll that around. So if you find that useful, then there's that, and that's cool. Yeah, basically you just use this gradient to control like how much of the meter is showing. Further, you can use the mesh to control all of that. So what's nice about this, and it's a little more ideal, is that you you don't have to create all these weird shapes and stuff. Everything stays like square and straight, and then you just shape it in the mesh itself. So here's one that's unshaped, but I wanted to show a little bit something extra here. You can throw some displacement maps on there. So now, and there's that overlay thing I talked about where that's going. This displacement map isn't textured very well, so you see some artifacts in there. But basically, you can have like a little bit of fire on the end there. So in a previous video, I did a displacement map one. One of the tricks to using them well is to have another map that controls where that happens. So like right here, none of that's, it's all black, and so it's kind of not like controlled very well. But then we have this map here that controls it a little bit better. We have the power here. You can see there's some artifact, and that's because the textures are bad. I also tie this to the actual texture here, and you can see the texture is a little bit different. So here's sort of like a meter of some glow around it. And we have all this extra space so that the displacement map can work. If we didn't do that, then we'd run out of texture space. Then you can just use this to control it. Let's just the offset here. Dial it up to kind of shrink it. Do that offset like that. Power there. Sorry about all that artifacting. I don't know why this should be mitigating that, but it's not, so I don't know. That's an option for you. And again, you can just play with this. This scrolls it automatically different directions. And so if you're not familiar with displacement maps, it just takes the UVs and like slides them around. So the next thing, and then we'll make our own here in a sec, is actually have a very cool effect. That affecting performance or not that much. Nah, displacement maps are super fast. They're awesome. This particular shader is full of textures, and that's not great, but if you're only drawing 1 or 2 meters, then it's really not a big deal. And it's 2019, like we don't have to worry about performance too much. Here's one that is a little more fancy. And do that to show you that actually have like a more unique shape. Now we have this here. Slide that around. We have a full meter right here. Pull it. And you may need to adjust it where the displacement like goes down if it's up that close or whatnot. And get to one of the shortcomings of this. Like I really like this one. Like you might think, oh, let's do it. We'll show what happens. Go off meter. So what it is, it's just left to right all the way across here. But then in the mesh here, we shape it. So we get that. I wanted to turn on this. Getting some. I have a plain one. You can see how big the actual mesh is, because we need all that space to do like displacement effects and things like that. Doesn't seem to be working. Actually, not add some. See. This one. I remember being that one. Weird. Oh well, you get the idea. I'll show you. Very impressive. It looks very nice. I didn't know. Yeah, it's super cool. And then you can slap on masks and stuff too. And if you refine this, you could make it look a lot better. You could apply your own colors based on the displacement stuff. It would look a lot nicer. But this is going to be a short video too, so let's get to it. So we wanted to make a new one. Open up Blender. You want to know most satisfying things in the world is right clicking in Blender. The delete, like the menu comes up so fast, and I feel like that's so rare nowadays. Like it's crazy satisfying. I know it's weird, but like it feels amazing. All right, Shift A, add a plane, rotate it this way, and this. The image editor. We're going to hit U to unwrap it. So now we have it unwrapped this way, right? Now we can start stuff with it. So I think we should do something like Kingdom Hearts. I think that would be cool. Start with this. And there's better approaches to getting this part. Already you can see this is going to be like not perfectly linear. Like, you know, the distance here gets kind of weird. And that's what's kind of hard about this. But once you get, as is true with like a lot of 3D, it's like there's a lot of like early work that's difficult. But then once you have that, it's like amazing. Control R, and I'm actually going to slide it down in here to be sure that it's like the right size. Because it didn't seem quite right. That. And so what I'm doing Control R, that way it's a loop cut. Just like in that previous video, it was a sort of different thing we were doing, but then I slide it all the way down here to make sure it's like the right size. That way I can rotate it around ways. Kind of goofing around, trying to. Alrighty, that's not quite right either. It's hard. Sorry, I started to ramble a little bit there. Videos a lot. Oh. This is going to be really crude. And if you think of a better way to do it, do that. Mesh. And make sure to call it something like that right here, so you can search it in Unity easily. On there. You're going to have to do lots of adjusting based on just what your mesh is like. It's like Fudging Giant. And I tiled up along the y-axis. That's what kind of like. And that could be an issue if like you have too many polys. Yeah. So, and what's cool about it though is that those displacement effects will go along. But, you know, go along your mesh in that direction. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And you can see some of the shortcomings. So that's why, like in that original one I had, there's tons of polys. Like, I'm gonna do a quick fix here. in order to keep it smooth. And you may want to like put one down the middle here to help smooth it out more. So yeah, there you go. Just another couple things to think about. Oops. It'd be really cool. And you can see some artifacting. Again, that's more of an like displacement maps are weird. That's just something you're gonna have to figure out. You know, using this, you could do. I wanted to show this. Don't know if I could. I suppose it'd make the video pretty cool. All right, let's do one last one here, and we're gonna do it out of nowhere, and we'll just kind of learn together. What I'm thinking is something like Diablo, right? So you have like this like urn, like an orb of like liquid, you know, energy or whatever. But then on the top, we could have like a displacement map going. I didn't realize how late it was, but I've already committed. So this, and I think we just need a quad. We're almost there, honestly, so I'm gonna kind of. Oops. All filled out. And then we'll scale it into a shape. And it's gonna be like a really like way to do it. Duplicated that. Oops. Gotta kind of that, kind of around that. Does that make sense? Not like rounded at the top. I don't get what I'm getting at though. All right. This sort of circular shape on this. You could make this look really good. This is really slow. I don't know why that circular shape isn't going all the way down. But you get the idea, right? It's kind of like a Diablo. This is like a really, really bad looking one. Y'all could do better. We might need a little more space in this. Can we? I guess that's kind of the shortcoming, is that that's the problem if you don't have that extra UV space. displacement maps. Oh, it's using that same map. I forgot. That wasn't sure what's going on in there. This thing. Oh, it still does it, huh? Pretty cool though. I'm not sure why it won't go all the way up around. Has to do with how these are all tiled together. I was hoping for like a full circular shape, you know what I'm saying? This, but not quite right. Um, just because of how these two are lined up. You could do better. I mentioned. Texture. Sorry, displacement maps like you can get lost. So yeah, this is a bad example, but I think you get the idea. That again, like meters, the idea is to like easily convey information. So you know, it's like that's how much mana you have left. Maybe that's not very good. You know what I mean? Like, how much is it really? But you can see how that's pretty sweet. You could even use that as an effect to just when they're like losing, you know, like let's say you lose this much meter, you can either do like a cutout shader with a displacement map or displace it. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick video to follow up on that other one. UAs are a lot of fun. Wanted to show one of the bad things that can happen though. Whoop. Duplicate this one. Another one of the shortcomings for this. Go ahead. Edge loops. Edge. This isn't going to be exact. Let's say we have this, right? We have this, right? And like we like that look. Like pretty cool. But fine. Like, oh, let's do slanted, right? Steer it like that. You know, maybe it'll look fine. Let's move the offset here. See, that's actually looking fine. So go ahead and do that. What can happen though is the other one. When you're working, stuff like this. Artifacting, that's bad. It's not really showing up. Maybe I'm just like a liar. Because that seems fine. I don't know. I don't know. I've run into trouble where like you get some, not artifacting, but like distortion. This looks perfectly fine. So yeah, there you go. That looks cool. No problems. Oh yeah, I hear what you're saying now. Sorry, I have to leave. Watch your video later. Oh, thank you very much. You're gone now, but it's looking pretty sweet. When you're doing like rounded shapes, you can really run into it. I swear, because I don't see any artifacting. I don't understand it. I really don't understand. No artifacting. That's so weird. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of actually? Thinking of stuff like this. This will get you trouble. Because it would be nice if we could do something like that, right? You can see that's not quite what we thought would happen, right? Go ahead and join that, see if it looks any better. It looks a little bit better. That's why it's good to just, if you can, implement like perspective in your UI, which can look really nice. You can get away with this sometime. Yeah, so it turns out just that plane shear actually looks dope as hell and is really easy, so go ahead and do that. But you can run into stuff like this. So yeah, pretty good video, I think. It went by. Really? This is like the same length as the other one. I feel like I've been streaming for like 5 minutes. That's a lie. 36 minutes? That's a lie. We haven't. Whatever. Time is an illusion. Yeah, thank y'all for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. One little thing I wanted to do is that with displacement maps, you can actually control the direction. And the one I have now, I just do it simple. It only moves the UVs left and right. But something you can do, and if you're familiar with flow maps, start doing that. Because you can just have like a big old quad, throw a flow map down on there, and you can like create all these shapes that are a lot smoother, and you won't have these difficulties like we did with this. But they can be harder to set up. Again, it's one of those things where it's like more work you put in the beginning. You lay like a foundation that might be really annoying to set up, but then in the end is really nice. Anyway, this displacement map going left and right. You can either do like a direction map, so you'd have your greens would push it up and down, and then your red would go left and right, or whatever you want. And that way, instead of everything flowing this way, only stuff at the ends here would be going to the right, and then stuff's up and down, things up and like pixels up and down right here would actually get pushed up or down. And that's something you could set up in like a single map. I hope that makes sense without, because I'm not going to show it because it's a little bit weird to set up. But that's something you can do too. Anyway, thanks for watching. Quick video. Apparently it's 38 minutes or whatever already. If you have any questions, let me know. Your support remains amazing. Hit up patreon.com/culture attack if you want to support. We like to keep our content free. We like to share open. Well, what am I trying to say here? Free and open sharing of information. And can't afford it, that should still be available to you, and can afford to support it. Appreciate it. What else? Oh yeah, this will be available to download from the YouTube download, or excuse me, from a download link in the YouTube video. If I forget, just hit me up. You can hit me up at Twitter at Culture Attack as well. Say, hey, do you have those files? And I'm like, yeah. It's kind of annoying to upload them sometimes, and I just forget. And then it's like I'll look and it's like, oh, this texture isn't even doing anything. I should clean it up. And then it's like a whole new chore I don't want to do. But yeah, there you go, dude. This one's looking really cool. That's really neat. All right, thank y'all so much. Questions real quick. You ever expected to be... It's true. They're not wrong. Anyway, if you have any topics you'd like covered as well, please let me know. I have a backlog, but I'm also always looking for easy or hard ones because different days I have different enthusiasm levels for some of that, making that look weird. Anyway, love y'all very much. Take care.